So, move to amend. Indeed, many of us, the question has become, how do you meaningfully dissent when you no longer live in a democracy? And I think, although this topic is not strictly about the election or electing Democrats, you're dealing with the same issue, is that you have a lot of disenfranchised voters. People don't feel like their vote really counts anymore, particularly with all the election money. But even aside from that, we no longer have the right to elect officials, ask those officials to pass laws to protect us and our children, and because essentially anything that we pass can be overturned because there is unequal protection now under the law. Corporations have more power because they have more lawyers and they have more money to pursue court cases. We have not got a snowball's chance in hell of getting out from under this. And this is something that, last year I was not aware of this at all. I went to see David Cobb's speech, and if anybody wants to see him do his democracy speech, which is very thorough and explains this in minor detail, just Google David Cobb, Lansing, Michigan, and there's a very good video of him doing his presentation. The move to amend campaign stands apart from any of the other pro-democracy campaigns because it targets the root of corporate power. Now, there's been a huge influx of interest in overturning Citizens United, and I belong to all of progressive listservs, so I get all that now. Move on, Public Citizen, they have this idea they're going to overturn Citizens United, but what does that really mean? What specifically are they proposing to do that's going to overturn Citizens United? And if you do overturn Citizens United, you're only talking about election law. You're not talking about all of the other things that they've been doing over the years. And there's always the possibility that another Supreme Court will rule in their favor because of their rights under the Constitution. So what the process, we are moved to amendment, and I have copies of their actual amendment there. Their amendment is very specific. It says corporations are not people and they can be regulated. And money is not equal to speech and can be regulated. So this is really about taking back our power in order to regulate things so that we have any chance of having fairness in this country. The process to amend the Constitution is huge. It requires 2/3 of vote in both houses of Congress, or a constitutional convention convened with the legislatures of 2/3 of the states so request. It has to be ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of the states or by conventions in 3/4 of the states. So this is a huge endeavor. The move to amend's main aim at this point is to not march in and say we want to amend the Constitution. We want to create the groundwork. We want to create the grassroots movement so that people understand why this is even important. So we're trying to start at the town level and to try to get people to share information with people in their town to see if we can get resolutions on the books in support of the amendment. So the idea is if you start at the town level, the people in that town will understand the issue. So when it goes to the county, all of the people in the county understand it, and then all of the state will understand it. We have about 7 affiliates now in New York State. There's Watertown, Ithaca, Binghamton, Buffalo, Rochester, and Brookhaven, and Ulster County. So we started an affiliate for Ulster County, hoping that what we're trying to do in Saugerties, which believe me, it's hard enough to try to think about doing it in your own town, but that people will start doing the same thing in other counties and in other towns throughout the county so that we can push this up through the county and then through the state. There is actually a resolution at present in the state that started out basically only addressing Citizens United, and it started out by saying, whereas corporations have certain rights under the Constitution. The right to influence election is not one of them. So our local affiliates got together and we all emailed Brennan, who was bringing the resolution to the state, and asked him to change the language. And he did take that out of the bill, and he did make it more to basically address the two issues. Corporations are not people, and money does not equal speech. So we have some efforts being done both at the town level and at the state level. So what can you do about corporate personhood? Well, as individuals, you can sign the petition, but the petition is really a petition in support of the movement. In and of itself, it's nothing without the actual amendment to the Constitution. I mean, when we think about it, prohibition came and went in 13 years. So it's definitely something that's doable. It's just that people have to understand how important this is to everything that happens in your daily life in order to really get behind it and to start spreading the word. And now in an election year, everyone's strapped for time, but the elections will come and go, and this is not going to change. And as our candidate mentioned there, we see our representatives basically going along with their corporate masters. They are on. Charles Schumer got $300,000 from J.P. Morgan. He had an opportunity to bring the issues to the table this week, and he let them off completely. So who is going to protect us? Not our representatives, not with the elections where they are. In order to run an election, you have to have money. So who are they going to be listening to? So we're basically asking for you to get involved. I urge you to go to the website. If you haven't signed the petition, sign the petition. If you want more information, there is a ton of information on the website. There's a number of readings. There's information on the Women's Committee for International Peace and Justice. And there's other links to other websites. And you should talk to your elected representatives about the Move to Amend resolution. We meet once a week in Saugerties. We're interested in opening it up to the rest of the county. If anyone's interested in doing a presentation, we'd be happy to do that in your town. If anybody's interested in trying to start a group like us, we are 5 people in Saugerties sitting around and trying to educate ourselves about the topic and to try to share that information. You can write a letter to the editor, to your town board, but also as an organization, Move to Amend is a coalition. It is not like MoveOn.org where it's a top-down, you have to basically do what the top says for you to do. This is a group of various organizations. Some, like us, are affiliates, but there's also many occupying groups, there's many democratic committees from various towns and states, and there's all kinds of organizations that join on in support. So as an organization, you can join on in support of it, or you can become a partner affiliate who would actually also. So those are some of the things that